Hi YouTube, I'm Jacqueline. I am the Spicy Spectrum Sage. I will be coming to you from now on every couple of days, every few weeks, however I feel like it, to give you tips, techniques, and things about my life as a late diagnosed autistic person raising a nonverbal autistic Tasmanian devil, which you will meet. That is my son, Gray. I should have done this video, I should have done this channel a few months ago, but I've been lifing and I've been kind of living in the before of my before and after story. And I kind of sort of want to let everybody know how it is in the before I fully move into the after. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and do this video before everything kind of settles. So it is June 25th, 2025. I just turned 45 a few weeks ago. It's very new for me, being firmly middle aged. I have a 6-year-old son that's about to turn 7. He is selectively mute, which means he talks his head off, but he very has little communication as far as normal communication is considered. Doing my research in how to raise him, I realized that I too am autistic. I'm just girl autistic, which means that nobody knew, including myself, even though the signs were most definitely there. And we will get into all of that as well, because I know there's a lot of pushback about late diagnosed people and how could you be late diagnosed and you have a job? I probably lost about 50 of them. How can you be late diagnosed if you have relationships? I've pretty much burned a lot of them, misunderstood a lot of cues, made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of fun doing it. So again, we're going to talk about all of that. So what I would like to tell you about is what it's like in the before. At the time of this first video, I have been living in a family homeless shelter in New York City. This one we've been in since February, but I've been in the shelter system altogether since August. So to let you know how we ended up here, I would have to go all the way back to 2022. In 2022, Gray and I were living in where were we? We were in Chonan and then we were in Seoul, South Korea. I was teaching English as a second language. I got pregnant there a few years. I got pregnant in 2017, came back to America in 2018 to have the baby. Didn't like being here. 2019, the baby and my little brother, as my brother nanny, packed up and we went back to Korea. We were in Korea throughout the entire pandemic. I will tell you stories about that later as well because that was a trip to be in a foreign country during a global pandemic. We were in Korea for about a year and a half when Gray started doing this thing where he would drop down to all fours and he would beat his forehead on the floor whenever he got frustrated. He was nonverbal, but he was making sounds. He was making the normal kinds of you think babies are supposed to make. So I'm in Korea. His nanny is from Uganda. Everyone around us speaks Korean except for me and my brother. So when my son is not speaking, I'm not chalking it up to too much of anything to worry about. Oh, we're just in a different culture or we're just in a different language. So I missed a lot of the signs. He also makes very good eye contact. He's also very affectionate. He's very snuggly. He's very sweet. So a lot of the things, the own little world, the alienation, the no eye contact, a lot of those markers my son didn't have. So it didn't occur to me until I had a coworker friend over for dinner one night and Gray dropped down and he did his head butting thing. And she said, that's kind of spectrumy. And very casually, she just blew up my entire world because it hadn't occurred to me. I hadn't thought about it, didn't know. In fact, I'd taken my son to get CAT scans to figure out if he had some kind of a neurological problem. Like that was a whole thing because we're doing this in Korea and my co-teacher is Korean, so she's helping me translate to get him through the medical system to figure out what's going on. And then my American coworker says, oh, that's kind of spectrumy. And I'm like, oh, shit. So here's something else that we have to figure out. So we went through the process of getting him diagnosed and everything like that. Other things personally happened in Korea to make Korea a no longer quite as viable situation. Plus, I'm having to struggle with my child, so it's like, let's go home. Personal side note, I had an ex from about 7 or 8 years ago. We stayed friends. He was autistic, late diagnosed. I think he got diagnosed in his 40s. He was now in his 50s. When I found out that my son was autistic, I thought back to my friend and I was like, I remember you telling me about you being nonverbal when you were a child. So if you grew out of it and you've had a successful life, can you help me get reestablished back into America? So we moved in together in New York City in 2022. And that's when everything deviated so drastically from whatever plan I had in my mind. I couldn't have predicted it. Um, in hindsight, there were things that I could have done because there's always hindsight is 50-50. 2020. Hindsight is 2020. So yeah, if I thought about it in the past, things would have happened differently, but I guess this is the way it was supposed to happen because of the way the universe works. Again, I'm new to all of this stuff. So I moved in with he was my partner, not my boyfriend. Just I want to help you with your executive functioning problems and get you motivated and have your life fixed. And I want you to help me figure out what's going on with my son. Um, I don't know if it's just the autism of my partner, my ex partner, or if it was also that he was in burnout and didn't know that he was in burnout. But he didn't do anything that I asked him to do, which was get an apartment that we could move into and then I would pay half. He, in his mind, I'm going to wait until she gets her pension money from Korea and then we're going to do it together. And because he didn't do what I asked him to do at the beginning, it delayed me being able to get Gray into daycare, childcare, something in the city once we moved. And I only had 3 weeks to do everything. I had to find the apartment, I had to get my son settled, I had to do all these things. And my partner wasn't helping as much as I thought he should be helping. And like I say, I didn't know that he was in burnout at the time. That came up afterwards. So the school year starts. I'm at this private bilingual school on the east side, very posh, very prestigious, very proud of myself for getting this job and loving my job. But my son is being kept by my partner because he has no placement because we have no actual address. So for the first, I want to say August, September, October, first 3 months, we were couch surfing in his friend's house. And it wasn't a good situation because his friends were assholes. And again, I can talk about that later. I finally had enough. I needed us to be a little bit more stable. So I moved us into a short term vacation rental. And we kept that place for about 6 months. And that was a little bit more stability. I was able to get my son in school, started the IEP process to get him evaluated to figure out what kind of services he was eligible for and what we could do to help him because that was why he's here. I'm also working full time, commuting from Brooklyn to Manhattan and back, working for this very strict company. Um, Given what I do, I teach English as a second language, so having meetings 5 times a week doesn't really it's just very it was a very French system and not very American at all. um my partner was not working. He'd lost his job this summer while we were still in Korea, and he's very employable, he's very smart, he just lacks executive functioning, like that follow through. He said I have an inability to move my meat. And then the added overstimulation of my child, who is a handful in and of itself, further depleted my partner's ability to cope. So he had savings, so it's not like he was mooching off me or freeloading off me, but he wasn't completely contributing. And the depression and the bringing down, like we ended up living, I want to say 6 different vacation rentals, maybe 7, couch surfing, bouncing around, basically for 2 years. It was terrible. I finally found an apartment. The woman that I ended up renting with was crazy, like New York City crazy. And I thought she was like hippie crazy, but no, she was libertarian crazy. So in the first 3 weeks of this new apartment, and this was in 2023, in 2023, in October, we found an apartment. I found an apartment. I was doing everything. Mark watched the baby. He put the baby on the bus. He got the baby off the bus. He was helpful in that way, and he would babysit so I could have some New York City nightlife. But his depression and his burnout was severe and noticeable. So I wasn't trying to bother him with too much. I found the apartment on Craigslist, which is red flag number one, but that's how desperate I was. That's how much money I was running out of. That's how much I needed everything kind of settled. And it was 10 blocks away from my son's school. So everything has been good for Gray. Everything has been done in service to Gray. Me, my partner, we are the worst for the wear. Like those 2 years basically kind of broke us. Like it literally broke me last year. So I'm getting to that. So this is 2023, October. My landlady is this super, like, she just came off weird when I met her, but it was like tolerable weird. I can handle it weird. Like you're very hippie. You want to have open spaces and no borders and no boundaries, but I have boundaries, so your lack of boundaries is not going to bleed over onto mine. So I thought. Her son and his girlfriend lived in the up floor. We lived on the ground floor. She lived in the basement. Red flag number two, the door that goes into our apartment also goes into her basement apartment. So she would have to come into our apartment to go down into her apartment. Ew. And she had about 10 tiny dogs. I didn't know how many at the time because I, again, was trying to get out of a bad situation. And I can't say that it was worse for the most part. There were a couple of bad spots in the house, the apartment that we ended up renting, but overall, I was happy there. Overall, I'm always able to make the best out of a bad situation, and that's what I did in this apartment. I decorated it, I made it beautiful, I made it my home. She tried to kick us out 3 weeks in because her dirtbag son, who is a tragic mulatto, hates black people, even though his father is black, and tried to attack my very light skinned, high yellow partner. Like, my partner is not the thuggy black guy that you would have a problem with. He's just autistic and in his own little world. And I guess the guy thought it was a threat. So he got into an altercation. We called the cops. She tried to evict us for calling the cops because they're agents of the state who are not allowed on her property. This was in October. Put a pin in it because it's going to come up again next year. So we were able to keep her from kicking us out and kind of settle into this uneasy truce alliance type of thing. So this is October of 2023. I am trying to get everything stable. Like, my whole mission, the whole time that I've been in New York, has been to try to get stability, which has not happened yet. The stability is inside of me, but it is definitely not outside. So we have a very nice fall, winter, spring, or whatever. The work stress is a lot. I'm in my second year at my school. We have new coworkers in. My boss is so unpopular that she's leaving early, which is making everybody happy because they think that that means we're going to be able to have a good job once she leaves because she's incompetent and terrible. But no, this chick took us all out with her. So in February of 2024, my partner told me he didn't want to be with me anymore. I basically pulled it out of him because he was being very sketchy and weird, and it was just, say it. If you feel it, say it. So I made him say it. He said it. So February, he decided we weren't going to be together anymore. He didn't want to raise Gray anymore. He didn't want to be in this kind of a situation anymore, and it wasn't his child anyway. So there's that. Um, it was understandable, but he also got laid off from his job. He'd gotten a job the previous summer. So out of the 2 years that we were together, he worked for about 7 months. Within those 7 months, it was a very autistic type of thing. Like, he's telling me this problem that he's having at work. I'm telling him what the solution is. He's not doing the solution. So when he got laid off in March, I wasn't surprised. But the problem was he got laid off in March at the same time that I got told that my school wasn't going to re-sign me, wasn't going to re-sign my partner, and wasn't going to re-sign, or my work partner, and wasn't going to re-sign the other English-speaking department of the job. Like, we all just got the axe. When you get let go at your school, you know that you're going to finish out the school year. So I had from March until June to make a plan. Um, Grant writing had always been this kind of background chatter in my ear ever since Matthew Lesko, the dude in the question mark suit. So when I got told that I wasn't going to get renewed, after I had my rage, after I had my grief, after I had all of my feelings, I said, okay, well, I'm going to shift into being a grant writer. So I joined this collective, and I used the time that I had to finish up my contract to get myself kind of situated into a new career path, which is a completely different career path, jargon and all. Um, so this is March of 2024. So much heavy stuff is happening. Um, Gray and I had a very terrible day. And I'm going to talk about that terrible day in a lot of detail in a different video, not this one. I don't want to feel that heaviness right now. I'm just going to use it to get us to here right now. Gray and I had a bad day. I ended up getting arrested. He ended up getting taken away from me by ACS. I lost him for about 3 weeks. They tried to commit me to Bellevue because of suicidal ideation, which is basically just me saying, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed out, I don't know how I can live like this anymore, I need help. And I said I need help about 15 times, and they heard it 0 times. So ACS had my child. They gave me my child back, but they had home visits. In June of 2024, they did a home visit that was the most bizarre thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Forever. Craziness. The home visit ended up with my landlady getting body slammed in the kitchen of my house and dragged out to be arrested. And then we got illegally evicted for having agents of the state on the property, and the lease that we signed said that we weren't people with rights, and we fought it or whatever, or staved it off for as long as we could. But with everything that was going on, me not having a job, Mark not having a job, Gray trying to get him stable, I just went into the homeless shelter system in New York because there was nothing else that I could do to maintain the life that I was trying to get for Gray. Like the OPWDD process, the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, that's been a 2-year process, and my guy still hasn't gotten a single service to help him, thanks to President administration. Like, seriously, because that stalled everything as of January, February of 2025. So we've been in the shelter system since August. August through February, we were in a 1-bedroom apartment in Bed-Stuy, which was very nice, full of mice that I was too Buddhist to kill. So my problem too, my fault. But we were there until February. In February, I did a wellness check on my mom in North Carolina, but I did not have enough permission, or I didn't have permission for the amount of days that I went. They were willing to give me 2 days. I took 7, I think 7. Yeah, I was gone for 7. So they logged me out of the system, which made me have to reapply for the whole thing. And having to reapply put me where I am now, which is a 1-room hotel room, where we were in Park Slope, Gowanus. So the neighborhoods have been very nice. The amenities are very nice. Like I'm not complaining at all. Like, as far as being homeless is concerned in New York City, you can see the different ranges. So even being in a hotel room after being in a 1-bedroom apartment, I'm still very grateful. You have to understand something about me. I'm always going to be grateful no matter what, because I've been through a lot and I'm going to get through a lot. So like I said, you're witnessing me in a very before type of place. Like, I have my own business. I've launched. I'm writing grants for friends and family. I'm writing grants for myself. Any day now, one of these grants is going to hit. I know it because I'm good at what I do, and I'm enjoying what I do for the first time in my life. Like, I literally got smacked into rock bottom in spring of 2024, and I spent the rest of the year building myself up. And fall of 2024 was profound for me, and that's going to be another video as well, explaining how I kind of elevated. Like, I am a different person right now than I was this time last year. And anybody that knew me before would be able to tell the difference. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I'm on this planet to do. So that's my focus from now on. Like, I didn't want to do this video in January when I had the idea, because I'm still grappling with other people. Like, how other people have honestly shaped so much of what's going badly in this world and what's going badly in people's lives. Like, I listen to people with anxiety and depression and social issues, and it's like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, the internet has unleashed so much nastiness in people that I have to ignore people and focus on my mission. And my mission is autistic people, autistic children, autistic adults, people who take care of autistic people, people who love us, people who support us. Like, this neurotypical world was not built for any of us. And the neurotypical people know that is garbage, but they have some kind of weird, their ego and their personality is so tied up into, it's just me not doing it right, and not the fact that the system is wrong for everyone. The system is wrong for everyone. I can't make them see it. It's not my place. My place is over here with my child. creating a world where he can live and be happy and not have people judge him by his stems or his vocalizations or his whatever it is that makes him happy in his brain. And my son is very happy for the most part. When he has a frictionless surface, he is very happy. And that is what I'm here for. I'm here to make him happy the good way. Like, you're not going to just eat snacks and play video games and be on a screen. Not that kind of happiness. But you're going to be a fulfilled person who gets to experience this planet that we were given. Like, I believe this planet is a beautiful place and that we all have a right to enjoy it. Not just rich people, not just white people, not just male people, like all the people. And that is my mission. That's what I'm here for. So, like I say, I am the spicy spectrum sage. I am here to give you the wisdom that I have been compiling in almost half a century of living. And I'm very smart. I'm very well read. I'm very well traveled. I'm very good at what I'm about to do. So stick around, like, subscribe, watch it again. I'm going to try to do this a little bit more consistently. But I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.